More than 2 months after devastating flooding, Hindman Settlement School has reopened its doors. We'll have more on the progress made and the path ahead for the school. And COVID cases remain high in parts of eastern Kentucky, but other parts of the state are doing a lot better.
And the sunshine we've enjoyed for the last little bit will continue for now, but still more changes on the way for us. Latest next as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Hindman Settlement School has returned to routine classes and programs as they continue recovering from the flood. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how the school is balancing flood relief and serving the community the way they have for more than a century.
Even as the water sits at a low level between Highway 160 and Hindman Settlement School, staff are still working through flood damage, trying to preserve what they can, however they can.
A clothesline and clothespins are pretty cheap, so we can get a lot of documents strung up in a day.
Office records dating back decades are hanging up at the school, some even forgotten from the past.
I was really amazed to find a picture. We have 200 acres up the hill here, and it used to be, there were no trees on it. It was almost like pasture land. It's just so surprising to see what the school looked like.
While they continue taking documents out of freezers to see what can be preserved, classes and programs are resuming, but not without the help of volunteers.
We wouldn't be able to do the regular work if we were hanging up, invoices and personnel files and those types of things. So our volunteers have been absolutely priceless.
Students learn about Appalachian culture at the school, as well as receive tutoring for reading and math. Staff also serve by consoling those affected by the flood.
Got 1 foot in regular normal and 1 foot in flood recovery new normal. So
dealing with the past while taking on the future. In Hindman, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Executive Director Will Anderson says school employees will host a community event once a month to help those recover from the flood. They are having a potluck dinner at the school on Thursday night. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman stopped by Carr Creek Campground today, meeting with some folks living in travel trailers after they were displaced by the floods. Coleman's visit was a wellness check of sorts, getting the pulse of a community stuck in limbo. She was joined by Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson and Kentucky Emergency Management Director Jeremy Slinker. There are more than 20 families living at Carr Creek and around 100 across eastern Kentucky. Officials say it will likely be more than a year until they are all able to find permanent housing. Dave Cowboy Graham is back in Hindman again to support flood survivors. Cowboy travels throughout the country supporting people after disasters. He was in Florida after Hurricane Ian and decided to travel back to Hindman to visit this community once again. The retired vet says locals have been glad to see him return.
They brought me breakfast this morning, honks, people hanging out the windows. School bus went by and stopped, and all the kids had the little makeshift cowboy hats, and they all came to one side with the cowboy hat, so it's pretty funny, actually.
Cowboy says he'll be traveling to Mayfield, Kentucky next, which was, of course, hit hard by a tornado back in December, and he'll speak with local business owners there.
Well, plenty of sunshine out there this evening. We'll continue to see that at least while the sun is up for the next hour or so. And then we're in for another chilly night. Outside, the latest upper 50s now already in Wise. You see, well, updating the latest frame there. Not a cloud in the sky, not a cloud in the sky as we head over to the west. Buffalo Mountain, Cameron, Southern Perry County, already 68 there. You can almost smell the distant like campfire smell out there, that wood. I can almost smell it through the image. Wish we did have smell-o-vision. Mid-60s to near 70 out there in many spots, but we're starting to drop quick as that sun starts to set. How about already 64 in Williamsburg? Satellite and radar, all good tonight. Keep that First Alert weather app handy, though, as we head through the next few days. You'll open it up, see the forecast, find that we're down into the 40s tonight and upper 30s in some spots, and then we bring back the chance for a few showers. The details on that in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thanks. COVID-19 cases are still up in parts of eastern Kentucky. Many of our counties are still in the red, but other areas of the state where there were numerous infections last year are now in the green. Rockcastle County was even in the top 10 of infections 1 year ago, but as of today did not have a single patient being treated for COVID. Health leaders say people are welcoming the new booster as well that wards off infections due to the latest variants.
We've found quite a bit of interest in our communities in this bivalent vaccine, so it does protect against the older strains of COVID-19 for which the original vaccine was developed, as well as for the BA4 and BA5 of the Omicron variant.
Health leaders say across the Cumberland Valley District area of Rockcastle, Clay, and Jackson counties, they are seeing less than 10 hospitalizations for COVID-19. 2 people are dead after an ATV crash in Campbell County, Tennessee. A Tennessee Highway Patrol report says the men were riding on Old Highway 63 around 5 Saturday evening. When the driver tried to turn left, the ATV traveled off the road and struck a concrete train trestle. Police say this led to the ATV spinning and ejecting both men. The men were later identified by THP as 22-year-old Jonathan Newport of Oneida, Tennessee, and 22-year-old Garrett Baird of Pine Knot. We have several arrests to tell you about from across the region. Let's take you to Bell County first. Pineville police were called to a possible crash on US 25E near Pineville last Thursday, but when officers arrived, they found 45-year-old David Anthony Hale of Lexington passed out behind the wheel of a car. Officers say they noticed an off-white substance in the passenger seat when they went to check on Hale. They also found a large amount of cash, and a canine officer alerted the front passenger door, where police say they found a substance they believed to be cocaine, suspected heroin, torch lighters, and a glass pipe believed to contain other substances. Hale is facing several drug-related charges. Kentucky State Police stopped 32-year-old Otis Coots of Smilax on the Hal Rogers Parkway in Leslie County after what the trooper described as several moving violations. Troopers say during the stop and a following search of the car, police located 2 pounds of suspected meth, 3 grams of suspected cocaine, and a large quantity of pills and cash. Coots is facing multiple drug-related charges and several traffic violations. A domestic violence call in Wayne County ended with 1 man behind bars. Officers with the Wayne County Sheriff's Office were called to a home on Highway 776 Saturday afternoon. When they arrived, police say a woman answered the door and told them she had made several attempts to leave, but when she did, Hartman Godsey reportedly stopped her. Officers say the 43-year-old man took off before they arrived, but he was later located walking nearby on Highway 790. He was arrested and charged with assault and unlawful imprisonment. Some Kentucky police departments are warning folks about scams. This time, scammers are targeting the comments section on Facebook posts. Grayson Passmore has more on that.
A new warning as you scroll through social media or before you open that new text or email.
Posted for the breast cancer awareness. We put that patch on there, then they started popping up because they made this shirt, and it had our patch with the breast cancer awareness, the special patch we had for this month.
Richmond Police Chief Rodney Richardson says they've noticed over the past few days various fraudulent links being posted in the comments section on their Facebook page. The comments look like this, just in slightly different forms.
Most of our posts, they would go through various locations and post that comment, and they would tag people too. So some of our followers were tagged in it, and they had a link that you could click on to order the t-shirt. Richardson says they are not selling t-shirts to anyone, and clicking on these types of links can inadvertently give scammers your personal information. It's just difficult, though, because you have a lot of people out there that support the department, especially in a location where they live, and then they see a t-shirt that looks like it's a department t-shirt, and people are, may click on that and not knowing that it's just fraud. Those at the Richmond Police Department aren't the only ones warning you about this scam. The Nicholasville Police Department made a similar post, and then over the summer, those at the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department made a Facebook post warning you about the same scam just being sent through text and emails. That's the times we live in. You just have to be real cautious. By the number of comments on each of the department's posts, the scam has reached quite a few people already. In Richmond, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
Richardson says if you are ever questioning whether something is a scam, reach out to your local police department and check with them.
Well, coming up, getting cooler tonight, but we have milder temperatures on the way later this week. Breakdown on that is coming up after this. Plus,
it's pumpkin season. We talked with a farm owner to find out which pumpkins are best and how your fun fall decor could also feed some furry creatures. Plus, one church in Martin is celebrating 50 years, how it's overcome recent flooding and where the congregation looks to go from here.
Mark your